Welcome to Grace Underground. Zera Priestess, a woman with a vision, a woman who loves her own people. She graciously sat with us for an interview at Sisters on the Rise. Here's an intimate look into the life of Zera Priestess. With your belly and everything. I have you on film.
Girl, I was so
you gonna
out
see
of it that night. I was so, because I was
you were looking gorgeous. I was like, she's the most beautiful pregnant woman I've ever seen.
But
and you're
I was gonna have a baby
sing
that night.
I know.
I was like, oh my goodness, how am I gonna do this?
Don't sing too hard, girl.
Yeah.
The whole purpose of Sisters on the Rise. What exactly do you do with the community?
So kind of our base is about building sisterhood, leadership, and reproductive justice. Mm-hmm. And so it's a couple different ways that we do that. So we have our Young Mothers program, because it's all about helping support them so that they can learn how to take care of themselves. Hopefully, a campaign that we're developing is so that to get young moms that have dropped out to go back to school, because you can go back to school if you're 21 and under. You can go back to high school to get your diploma.
Okay.
And a lot of young moms feel like they have to drop out, and they don't have to drop out.
Yeah.
They also get 45 days of maternity leave that they can use before they deliver and after they deliver. That does not go on their permanent record. And making sure that schools know this, so that young moms won't get pushed out and feel like they can't go back to get their education, because they can. And diplomas do hold a little more weight than a GED does.
Yeah.
And so that's one part of it. And so our after school program for young moms is going to be starting on October 18th. All goes well. So we're doing outreach now to get them involved.
How do you find these young people? Like, how do you go out and find them?
So it's a combination of working with the schools in the area and going out door knocking in the community to talk to them.
Okay.
So we say young moms, meaning those that are still can go to high school, but it could be any and everybody, because I feel like if you want to develop and grow, you have a place that can nurture you to help you grow and develop. Yeah. Bring them into the space, and the whole idea is that our energy never dies, and we are like the next generation, the legacy, and we want to be able to kind of make that connection, that kind of complete the circle by having our ancestors be present. So awaken, creators, awaken.
We are it.
See, no separation, no end, we are infinite. In unison, let's claim this earth, let's feel this earth, let's heal this earth, let's shout for love, let's become our higher selves, let's speak and think words of power, let's co-create our very existence. Awaken, creators, awaken.
We are it.
Peace. Thank you.
So Zera, how did you come about with the name Zera Priestess?
So it was a name. I always wanted to have a spiritual name because my dad is very, like I said, very Afrocentric. And we were talking about what names mean. And my real name is Katrina. Like, I almost say my government name. And it's okay. It means pure. And it's so funny, I chose my daughter's name and it means pure too. But Zera means beauty, blossoms at dawn. And I chose that because all my life I struggled with beauty. I always thought I was like a pretty ugly kid. And so I had read this quote too that said beauty is love. And love is like one of the most important things to me too. And so I chose that. And then blossom at dawn, it seemed like a given because I meditate, and meditation, the best time to meditate is early in the morning, like between 4 and 6. So blossom at dawn, right? Fits. And so my whole name is Ashia, Zera Ashia Priestess. Ashia means meaningful existence, and priestess is, for me, it means a holder of spiritual knowledge and light. And so my dad helped me choose my names.
Nice.
We went through African book and read all the different definitions. Names have energy. And so if you want a certain kind of energy in your life, you can start calling yourself by that name. Like, you know, people have names that mean like faith and joy, and I think if you really concentrate on what it means, you can actually make that be a part of who you are. And so after all the things that I had went through and calling myself Zera, that was something that was pretty powerful for me. Yeah.
To raise money for the space, Zera holds fundraisers that feature poets, singers, and other performers.
Awaken, creators, awaken.
We are it.
See, golden white filaments of light infuse our energetic bodies. Spread through our emotional bodies. See, our essential existence is infinite. The floodgates of true knowledge are steadily releasing, steadily increasing. So embrace, please, this love, light, and liberation where the golden robes of full realization. See, the truth of the matter is, there is no separation. War and competition is insanity. Caring, sharing, cooperation is our true reality. Touch my sister, and I feel it. Touch my brother, and I feel it. Touch my misrep opposition, and I still feel it. Awaken, creators, awaken.
We are it.
Awaken, creators, awaken.
We are it.
Awaken, creators, awaken. Yeah, well, I guess I always always wanted to be in New York.
Okay.
Like, I can remember being really little, like 2 and 3 years old. I don't know what a 2 and 3 year old would know about New York, but I knew that I wanted. And my mom said I should draw pictures of this place, and I'm like, not even knowing what it is. So I know this is where I wanted to be, and I known that I wanted to write, and I wanted to sing, and I wanted to act. But I always wanted to do that, but I got involved in my life. I had my son at a relatively young age. I got pregnant when I was 18. And, you know, so I just kind of got to living and just going to work day by day and just trying to make it. And that was my life. But I wasn't happy. And I had a minor, not minor, it was a pretty major crisis of just trying to deal with issues that happened to me when I was younger as far as healing is concerned. And so I started doing more meditation, and I ran across this book, Creative Visualization by Shaki Gowan. You know the book? Yeah, really amazing book. And this other book, Look In, Look Up, Look Out, which was also all about self-evaluation, thinking about who you are internally and what your past and history is, but not letting that stop you in your journey for your life, but using it as, you know, fuel to like get better and grow and stuff like that, as well as kind of having like a higher kind of spiritual connection to everything, you know.
Right.
So those were like what helped me start clarifying what it is that I was supposed to be doing with my life, you know? And so I thought I was supposed to be an actor because that's how I love acting and I love writing. The arts and the creativity helped me open up to be able to express myself, to be able to say what I needed and what I feel like needs to be happening in the world.
Okay. So
that was a big jump for me because I was very much about what anybody else wanted and not what I wanted. And then so that was one phase of the journey. Another phase was my grandmother got ill and she eventually passed away, but I went to go see her and she, you know, we were just talking about what I was supposed to do, and she was like, I had a responsibility to take care of my family, and that, you know, meaning my son and at that time, and my dad and my his brothers, and because there was not going to be anybody else that was going to be able to hold the family together. And it was like, you know, I had got this big commission, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I could do this.
Bestowed that upon you.
Yeah,
wow.
She kind of put it there, and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with that. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think I could be a mother. And my own relationship with my own mother was kind of, you know, not great.
Like most of us.
Yeah, and so from talking to her, it helped me think about like what else I wanted to do with my life. And so it happenstance that a friend of mine that used to live in New York moved back to New York, and she was like, oh, you should come to New York, because we were gonna move to DC together. And I was like, you should move to New York. I was like, all right, I'm gonna come to New York. And so I came here for a week, and I was like, I knew I was supposed to be here. I was like, it just kind of reactivated everything that I knew about my life.
Yes.
And so she hooked me up with a job interview at this place that she worked at. I went on the job interview. They hired me, and they were willing to wait a month for me to get all my affairs settled in Mississippi and come back. And so and I was like, this must be meant to be.
Yes.
And I was really into looking at signs then, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, I gotta go. It was the second phase, right?
And what year was this about? Like, give us some time.
Oh, so I moved here on October 31st of the year 2000.
Halloween.
When I moved to New York City.
Oh, so you were actually here before 9/11 then. So, yeah. So you experienced a lot of stuff while you were here.
And I worked on 14th Street and 7th Avenue. So we had a pretty good view of the buildings it was really traumatic.
Yeah, it was very traumatic, for a lot of people.
And I'm an empath. I don't know if you know. Like,
I'm an empath also. I know exactly what you're talking about.
So I absorb.
I'm a feeler. I call it feeler.
Yeah, I absorb people's energy. And I'm just now learning how to not. That's one of the things that why the boundary thing was so
it's very
traumatic for me growing up is because I am naturally that way. Like I feel people's pain and their emotions, and it can jar me. And so that day I was very overwhelmed.
Yes, I was too.
But I feel like those things are important for me to know because that helps me be more aware of how I'm working with the community.
And you
with
will also
people.
feel the positive also. It works both ways.
And you're able to, once you know that you can feel energy changes, you can manipulate it. It's like, if you can tell me, like, what was the feeling that you got when you walked into the room here? Like, what was the feeling?
Peaceful.
Yeah, yeah,
A peaceful energy.
yeah,
Love.
yeah.
You know.
And
But that's how I felt when I first came here, and I was like, I gotta go back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's about, once you know how things are, it's like how you can then do things to manipulate that and create the environment that you would like to create and affect people the way that you would like to be affected, right? And to help them build the energy that you would like to create. You know what I mean? Because you can have like really negative energy, and there's a reason for that. And so just figuring out why that is, and then what you can do in order to create a more positive kind of environment or relationships with people.
Definitely.
And it's a, I'm still learning the nuances of it, but I'm learning about space. There was a really great book, which if you guys haven't read it, it was really good for me, Sacred Woman by Queen Afua.
Oh, okay.
Amazing mind, body, spirit, healing, all about how to eat healthy, how to take care of yourself. It's all about healing yourself, you know. So that was a really great book for me, too, just I think on every level, because it's helping me understand sacred space. And that we have that responsibility as people of color especially to build positive energy. Yes. Whereas we normally would be holding on to negative energy, but to build it, because we are resonators, like we transmit energy.
So I think as a performer, you're naturally, how you feel when people react to your singing. So yeah, that's even more.
I mean, which gives you more responsibility for what are you actually putting out there. So I've had to be even more conscious of that as I've gone along, because I do believe that we're creators. Have you ever heard people say, speak it into existence?
Yes.
That's some real,
and you can actually speak things into existence, negative, positive. Okay, so you came here in 2000 and you started working. You were very lucky in that sense that, everything kind of opened up for you. But when did you decide, I'm going to reach out and help the community? Like, how did that come about?
Okay. Well, it started with my grandmother. I mean, just her telling me about family and about community. My grandmother was a very big volunteer person.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So she volunteered at a church. She was one of those people that always would cook dinner for people and take it to people that weren't feeling well. Very much about sewing clothes and taking it to people. That was how my grandmother is, and my dad is very much about the community as well. And he kind of helped me think more about my Africanness and how to like embrace that more. And so when I moved to New York, and I knew that I wanted to work with young women empowerment. I knew that because I had lived through a lot of like abusive situations as a child and as an adult. And so I knew that I wanted to be there to help uplift another young girl so that she wouldn't feel like she had to go through all the pain that I went through. That's
beautiful.
And so I started volunteering at this place called Sister to Sister in Brooklyn, actually, because I used to live in Brooklyn.
Okay.
And that was so great because they were like a collective, and it was like everybody had a part and a role in the organization. Like us learning together and sharing together and learning how to build power together. That was why I got involved here at Sisters on the Rise, because this place used to be in the Bronx, down the street from where I moved to. It's a similar organization to the one that was in Brooklyn. And she was like, why are you come way down to Brooklyn when you live in the Bronx? I mean, you could just work at the organization that's in the Bronx. I became a board member here in 2002. And I've been, volunteering from a board member perspective and coming to lead workshops and just coming to talk and vibe with the young girls as much as I could at that time. 2004, I started working at Mothers on the Move and I learned about how to be a community organizer there, which is all about people empowerment and how to get people to evaluate their own circumstances, figure out what their problems are, what the solutions are, and then come together in collective action to fix those problems with their solutions that they came up with. This space, Sisters on the Rise, and me being more in charge of it now, and I don't want it to be just me in charge of it. This is a collective. It started off as a collective. It's right now it's about me being here and being present to like rebuild the space and create it so that now we can begin having like other young women be able to lead in the organization as well as kind of take lead in the community. The zip code area 10459, which is where we are, has one of the highest pregnancy rates and for young people. So it's schools, door knocking on particular doors and stuff in the community to talk to people and see if they know any young moms. It's, you know, personal relationships. And I'm also thinking about going to the doctors and doing more health facilities. Yeah, so thinking about going to Lincoln Hospital because that's where a lot of people give birth in the area. And Melrose Health Center. To kind of do more outreach too. And I know that they have more funding that was issued on the state level that allows them to work more with young mothers. And this is another, what I feel like is unique about what we do other than, you know, prevention and sexual, education for the idea of prevention is that we also honor their decision to become a mother because it's important for them to feel empowered
that they can make that decision, right?
And that they can parent. And because like I said, I didn't feel comfortable being a parent when I was so young, you know, and knowing that we can help each other, support each other so they can be better parents and analyze how they grew up so that they won't make some of the same mistakes that they're, you know, that they've experienced through their own parents. The after school program itself will have 10 young women at a time.
Oh, that's pretty big.
Because your life doesn't end when you have a baby. It's really just another beginning, you know, and what are you going to do with that challenge now in order to still grow and develop? To us, being a young mother is not the end of your life. It's not something that's just invented in our century.
Right.
This is, you know, we've always had young mothers.
Right.
But what it is how do you create societies and systems that support their development and make sure that they don't have to live in poverty for the rest of their lives just because you had a baby when you were younger.
Right. Brandy's my co-host.
Okay, cool.
In order for you to find people, you may want to team Safe Horizons, which is a domestic violence shelter. I'm sure that they probably come into some sort of contact with young mothers.
I actually just talked to a lady too at Coalition for the Homeless, and she was telling me that she had a large young mother population. And also, in addition to that, because we primarily work with young mothers that are still high school age, but we also work with any mother. And young mothers can be those that are still needing, you know, can go to college and want to go to college. And so after our after school program, we will have childcare service so they can concentrate on their studies as well as tutors so that whether you're in high school or whether you're in college, you can still receive the support that you need in order to go with that next level of education.
Rent space in New York City, let's just be real, is not cheap.
Yeah.
Okay? And all that you're doing, you're working, you know, you have a baby, you have 2 kids. And fundraising, I mean, I know a little bit about fundraising, but how do you do that? I mean,
It's hard. I'm not gonna lie. And in this current economy and the way that funders are looking at how they're going to give money is definitely different. And there are a lot of people that are traditionally that we would receive funding from that we can't now because they have a cap on their funding to like 2013 for a lot of them. So what we're doing now is we're having a series of like fundraising events here, similar to the Micathon, where you are women, you empower the children, you empower the men, right? So that's kind of like why we work specifically with women. But the space is very much about all of our empowerment, about ending poverty for everyone, about ending violence for everyone.
And that's really important that we need people like you in the communities to, because I think that whole thing, what you were talking about earlier with the occupation, I think we've lost communities.
Yeah.
Americans don't have a sense, and I just really learned more about this by being married to an African. They really have sense of community. I mean, their whole community will come together for a wedding.
Yeah.
The whole streets will just walk down like a parade. And I'm like, what?
Indians are like that too. And Bengali people, they're like that too.
There's no such thing as raising money for a wedding. Everybody cooks. Everybody, makes your clothes for you. Everybody brings flowers for you.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as paying $10,000 for a wedding or something like that. In the sense of we have lost our sense of loving each other.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you for
yes,
saying that. Because
yes.
that's real talk.
That's what it all comes down to. And this is why you have the violence. This is why you have the kids shooting each other and bullying. I love it. You need to write a book. No, I'm serious. That's your next venture.
Wow.
You have so much information locked inside of you that people need to know about. And yeah, I'm really thankful that I met you. I think you have a really positive energy about you.
Oh, thank you.
And you're kind of becoming like your grandmother. You are. You are. I see it. It's like you're the mama of the neighborhood now. So
Yeah, I'm glad.
yeah, that's
I'm
really
glad
cool
that
that she
makes
passed
me
that
feel-
on to you.
That makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Peace. Thank you. And thank our ancestors being present. Clap or song or otherwise make some noise. Girl, she is good and everything.